Y'all, let me tell you a story about how my laziness was causing me to gain weight and I was blaming it on something else. And this was completely unconscious to me until about a month ago. First, let's just admire these beautiful flowers that my clients got me. Like, can you even? Look at that beauty. The flowers and I are communing. Okay, I I was not intending on telling the story. I had planned an Instagram post for it, but as I was sitting with what I wanted to speak about today, I want to speak about how we are delusional with ourselves. We will lie to ourselves and we will tell one story while literally deny what's happening. Like we are so incongruent in what we say versus what we feel versus what our actions are, and we will completely lie about it and have no idea that we're doing so. And so this is a story about my own laziness and my own lying to myself, a very vulnerable one that I don't want to share. But we're going to do it anyways because that's how we grow and change and transform, right? We only do it if we all can admit and we can get our egos out of the way enough to go, ah, yeah, I'm bullshitty too. I totally do that too. Hello and welcome to Yarok Academy of Healing, Expanding, Spiritually Transforming, and Mastering Energetics. This is the Yarok way. And beauty is a part of our codes. I'm your host, Yarok, spiritual mentor, leadership mentor, clinically trained therapist, nervous system genius, and all around energetic sorceress. I'm a master of energetics. And I still do unconscious shit that blocks me from what I desire. Do you hear that? I still do unconscious shit that blocks me from what I desire. No one is exempt from this, but we all love to run around and pretend that we are, right? Oh, I've already done it, or I already figured it out, or da, da, da. And then the universe keeps giving us lesson after lesson after lesson, and we're not paying attention. We're not looking at what's actually going on in front of us because our egos get in the way and our inner child gets activated and we want to do all this crazy shit that's actually just making us suffer. And I deeply care about you not suffering. Actually, recently I was with my vocal coach and she's like a magician. Truly, she calls herself a mystic pop star and she's like a true mystic. She's a true oracle and she tracks what's happening in my vocal cords to notice any discrepancies around what I'm saying and what's happening for me. And at one point, I was like so upset about something that was going on, and she just stopped and she goes, "Oh, Yarrow, you're a sweetheart." And I like get teary talking about this. I was like, "What?" She's like, "You just so badly don't want people to suffer." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's known me for like 15 years. I'm like, "You didn't realize it?" She's like, "I did, but not to the depths to which you care about this." I'm like, "I don't want people to suffer anymore. There literally is another way. We just have to get the fuck out of our own way long enough to be able to soften our ego enough to do it." So let me use myself as an example in a very vulnerable share that I don't want to share, but I'm going to in service of showing how sneaky this shit is, okay? And you might be like, "Oh, this isn't that sneaky. You were gaining weight." Well, it was. I was blind to it until about a month ago, okay? So in 2016, I started grad school. I know that was 10 years ago. Isn't that wild? I started grad school and I was living in New York City and I had to fly to LA and go to grad school in Santa Barbara. The school that I went to, Pacifica Graduate Institute, you went once a month for 4 days. I was living in New York City. I had a lot of beautiful clients in New York City, and so I didn't want to leave and go to California because I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have had the yoga clientele I'd built up. Like I had a beautiful roster of people who I loved working with there. So I flew once a month to LA, drove up to Santa Barbara. I did this for 2.5 years. It was exhausting, truly. You know, I have always been someone who, first of all, let me say, when I was very young, like 18, I was gaining a lot of weight because I was drinking a lot and eating a lot of pizza. I then started going to raves, which, if you know my story at all, you know that I downloaded Enlightenment on the dance floor of a rave at 19. I dropped so much weight at that point that one of my friends thought I had an eating disorder. I've never had an eating disorder. I just stopped eating bad things, stopped drinking, and I just naturally am a thin person. Always have been. I've always been very little. So whenever my weight will fluctuate because all humans does, but when it does fluctuate, it's usually because I'm eating a little bit too much of something that my body's not into. Like something's happening usually, right? When I was 23, I started doing Bikram yoga. I became an avid practitioner, at least 5 days a week. Then I went to teacher training, 4.5 years in. So at 26, I became a Bikram yoga teacher. I was practicing 5 to 6 days a week and teaching. So I was in that hot room between 3 and 5 hours a day, nearly every day. So then I start grad school. I'm still practicing, I'm still teaching, but I'm exhausted. Then the pandemic happens. And in the midst of that, I started dating someone who, ate pizza, ate certain things that I at the time wasn't eating because they just don't really sit in my body well, and I will gain weight from them and it doesn't feel good. So then the pandemic happens, life changes. I moved from New York to Northern California, and in New York, you walk everywhere. I was super active. I was teaching, right? Like I just said, I was in the hot room 3 to 5 hours a day. Come to Northern California, I'm still practicing yoga, but it's in my house. I'm not in the hot room. I do have a sauna. And I start doing Tracy Anderson method. But my lazy ass is like, well, I'm going to do the 30 minutes a couple times a week. She has like a beginner 30 minutes, or she has an hour intermediate or advanced. I was like, I'm going to do the 30-minute. Slowly, some of the yoga classes I stopped doing because I wasn't teaching them online like I was during the pandemic. So I was practicing, and then, there were days I was skipping. I also had started shifting my diet. I was eating way more red meat based off stuff I was reading online. I was allowing myself more carbs than I used to. And I started to really gain weight. First of all, I'm in my 40s. I think some of that's natural, like my boobs got big. There are certain things that are happening. However, I was like telling myself I was doing something that I wasn't actually doing. Like I was telling myself, oh, I'm still working out as much, or I'm still eating the way that I used to. That wasn't actually accurate. I also wasn't walking like I used to. And I was starting to feel kind of heavy, like actually energetically heavy. And so after I got home from my retreat that I went to in Montana this last year, in the beginning of January, I was like, I'm going to do the intermediate Tracy Anderson 3 times a week, no outs, like religiously, 3 times a week. I'm sticking to yoga. I practice yoga 3 times a week. So I started doing the Tracy Anderson. I also, based upon my naturopath and looking at my vitals, I cut back on the red meat and integrated some more fish in there. Guess what? Not everybody's meant to eat that much red meat, even if it's good for you. And once I did that, I started to lose a little weight. I upped my Tracy Anderson. I started walking a little more. When I first started doing the hour Tracy Anderson, I thought I was going to die. It was like so hard for me. This is from a girl who can touch her head to her ass. At least I could. I'm close still, but it's not quite there. Like literally touch my head to my ass in a back bend. My point with all of this is that I got lazy and I slipped in terms of the things that actually make me feel good. Now, does my body still look beautiful? Yes. Am I still beautiful? And this is like one of the sneaky parts. Like, I hate to tell my body I need to lose weight. And here's why. I love my body. I think I'm freaking gorgeous and radiant and I shine like the sunshine and I'm so sexy. And so when I tell my sweet, beautiful body that I need to lose weight, it feels abusive towards her. So I struggled with that. I was like, no, I still look amazing. I still look amazing. However, I started to not feel amazing. I was feeling heavy. I was feeling weighted. So I started the Tracy Anderson and it was so fucking hard. Like I literally thought I was going to die. I had to pause it like every 10 minutes and be like, oh my God. So I'm now 3 months into doing it 3 times a week without giving myself any outs. It is so much fun. I feel stronger. I've lost so much weight. Like, I don't know how so much is, but like my clothes are fitting better. I'm slimming down. I'm feeling good. I'm more energized. I'm going for more walks more easily. And the best part, I feel lighter. So, why am I sharing this with you? Because we lie to ourselves constantly and we don't even realize we're doing it. I was telling myself, it's just that I'm older. It's just that I, can't figure out what I need to do diet wise. It's just this, it's just that. Like, I'm doing all the things. I don't need to lose weight. Like, I was like negotiating and fighting with myself when the truth of the matter was, I got lazy. I started slipping and eating things more often than I should be that don't actually make me feel good. And I wasn't honest with myself about this, and I was lazy. That lazy thing is key. Now, here's the thing, I am 0% a lazy person. I am so unbelievably devoted to my discipline. Like, the fact that I got lazy is kind of insane. And all I can say for that is that I was starting my business, which is now a 7-figure healing business. So, yeah, there are things to do, right? I was starting a business that is now a 7-figure healing business. And amidst all of that, I let myself slip. I didn't hold myself accountable to showing up as who I actually desire to be. And that is not like the thinnest. It's not about that. It's about how do I feel? Because I actually love that my boobs are bigger. That I enjoy very much. I enjoy being curvier. I think it's nice because there are times I look back on old photos, I'm like, damn, I do look like I had an eating disorder, even though I didn't. Like, I really enjoy that. But I also wasn't feeling like strong and fit and healthy. And I was like an athlete. Like I actually did yoga competitions. You can look them up. The things I could do, it like blows people's minds. It's like 1% of the world can do that stuff. And so having come from being an athlete to letting myself slip like that, I think my body really reacted strongly. And now I'm getting back on track and I'm feeling so good. And I was like, this is a really beautiful way to explain to people how we lie to ourselves, the excuses we make, the justifications we make, and then having to move through the resistance of actually showing up and doing the thing. Because, like I shared, when I started doing Tracy Anderson an hour 3 times a week, she was hard. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to give all myself all the excuses. I resisted it, but I was like, nope, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing it right away. I meditate and chant, and then I do Tracy Anderson. No waiting till the end of the day. No, I'm going to do it mid afternoon. It's like I have to hold myself accountable. And then when it comes to the food, it's like I was really thinking about how much more I let myself eat things that I didn't used to let myself eat. And it's not that it's bad. Like I love pleasure, I love food so much, but it's what's going to make me feel good in the long run. Do I have the discipline to love myself enough to know that this isn't going to make me feel good? Now, I never want to be rigid about this because I want to enjoy and I love pleasure and sensuality and like allowing myself to have like a piece of cake that I desire. But doing it all the time, you're numbing something out because you know it's not going to make you feel good. You know you're going to gain weight, you know you're going to feel heavy, you know energetically it's going to dim your light. And so are you keeping your human body maintained in a way that is of optimum feeling good? I don't want to say optimum function because I'm not robotic like that. It's like, how do you feel? How does your body feel? How does your heart feel? How does your mind feel? Last night I did 3 hours of meditation in this workshop, and we were working with anchoring into your radiant body and Kundalini yoga and really the subtle energetics. And I started to really tap into like how powerful we are and how often we dismiss these nuanced levels of energy within our being, and then we allow ourselves to dim our shine. So, my dedication back to taking care of my body in this way is a dedication to me shining as bright as I'm meant to shine in this world. And we are all meant to shine bright. It may look different for all of us, right? And so I ask you, what is something that you've been resisting that's been plaguing you that you potentially could be lying to yourself about? And what do you need to do right now to start to shift this? What are the action steps to take? No fluffy bullshit, no talking yourself out of it, no excuses, no justifications. Like, what are the actions? So when I got back from Montana, I was like 3 days a week, Tracy Anderson. Once I did that, it was like, oh, it started to come into consciousness. I'm eating this, and I never used to let myself eat that unless it was like once a year. I'm eating this, I'm eating this, all these things. I didn't used to let myself do this because I knew it wasn't going to feel good. So how am I not taking care of myself? And what am I using that to anesthetize, numb, or avoid? So, as you anchor in to who you're meant to be and how you're meant to shine, where are you lying to yourself? What excuses are you giving yourself? What are 3 action steps you need to take? Where have you been sneaky around telling yourself one thing, but unconsciously you're doing another? And then what's happening in your 3D reality? I can't wait to hear. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you want to dive deeper into this, my program, The Composer, has 2 spots left. We start on April 21st. You can message me for the details, or you can go to my link in bio on Instagram, and all of the details for that program are there. My bangs are so funny right now. I don't know why they can't behave themselves. All of the details for the program are there. It's 8 weeks, 2 hours live calls once a week. We have a Telegram channel every day or 4 days a week for you to do in-time processing. You have over 45 videos with the composer. The composer is about you being the composer of your life. Everything else is simply an instrument in your life. When you know how to attune to you and attune to what you desire, you know how to compose your life. So We only have 2 spots left. I just announced it and 3 spots were taken immediately. We have 2 spots left. I also have something free coming very soon called the Diamond. And by the time you watch this, it may have been announced. So check out my Instagram bio for the details of that. It's a 5-day free You're Okay Way experience. All right, I love you all. The flowers love you too. And I'll talk to you soon.